Anyway, happy Tuesday. It's somehow Tuesday again. It just keeps happening. I don't understand how time works. Welcome. I'm here. There's a bunch of new people in my world, so welcome. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you following me. Hopefully you're excited about learning more about the voice and all of the layers underneath the voice, because I am. It's really exciting. It's pretty fun to talk about this stuff because it is not just your normal boring university vocal performance degree type stuff. We're not going to be talking about performance. We're not going to be talking about classical terms that you'll never ever use in your life. We're talking about real world shit. Okay? So I'm here today to talk to you if you have any questions about your singing, things you've been coming up against, walls you've been hitting. I'm here to help you. So if you're watching this on the replay, even feel free to comment and let me know what kind of things you want me to post more about, because I want to get in there and find out what you're dealing with. Because I know generally what most of my students are dealing with, but everybody's a different person. Everybody's has a different body, has a different experience level, different things that they struggle with, different actual instrument. One of the things I always say when I'm talking to new people is like, I'm not here to tell you how to use your instrument, because your instrument is different than my instrument. And I know my instrument. I'm the expert on my instrument. I'm the expert on my vocal folds. But we are here to learn about yours together. So I'm not here to teach you how to use your voice. I'm here to teach you how to learn how to use your voice. And we're going to learn it together, because everybody is so different. Everybody comes with different baggage, emotional baggage. Everybody comes with a different want. Everybody wants something different from their voice. And so I'm not going to give the same advice to everybody. I'm not going to tell somebody who wants to go sing country music to go do opera. Like, that's just ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. So I'm here today what I want to talk about is, I think, like, why having a coach is helpful, but also why it's maybe not what you would expect it to be. So I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot a little bit, because people will come to me and they'll say, okay, I'm really excited to take voice lessons. I want you to tell me if I'm good enough. I'm not here to do that, first of all. I'm not here to just tell you you're good enough or you're not good enough. That's not what vocal training is all about. You're here to grow. You're here to get better. And so I'm not going to start off by saying, you're at a level 1, we need to get you up to a level 10. That's not helpful, So what I say to those people is, you are where you are, and that's a beautiful thing. And what we need to do is learn to, number one, accept that. Because when you're not accepting of where you already are, you're always in forcing mode. You're always pushing, and over pushing happens really easily when you're talking about the voice and the vocal muscles. Not just in a bigger metaphorical sense, we're talking on a teeny tiny muscle level. When you start to over push and you start to be somebody you're not, be further than where you are, sound like somebody who has many years more experience than you start to over push. And that causes injury, right? So number one thing is, we want to start to dive into, okay, where am I and where do I want to be, and how do I start to love that gap instead of have it be so overarching and weigh on you, because for so long I had such FOMO. FOMO is like a huge part of my life. So much so that I'm basing a whole show off of it. So I don't know if you feel the same, but my FOMO was so bad that I would be, every time I would sing, my brain would not be able to focus on the things I was doing right, but I would just hyper focus on all the things I was doing wrong and how far I was from how I wanted to sound, And so it would turn into just every time I would sing, it would be just me judging myself and putting myself in a box and just saying, why aren't you where you want to be at? Why are you not better than this already? So I think it's very important to realize that so much of what we do is allowing, and that involves physical allowing, it involves mental allowing, it involves nervous system allowing. We have to be in a state of allowing. And I've heard people talk about this in terms of acting, in terms of improv. It really is, you're just allowing whatever happens on stage. The rule with improv is yes and, right? And so you are yes anding yourself everything. So if you have that gremlin voice come into your head and say, wow, you don't sing that song like Ariana Grande at all, you are so far from where she is. Your job is to, instead of be like, oh yeah, you're right, I don't know if I should keep going, I don't know if I am worth the effort that I'm putting in. Your job is to, instead of that reaction, to go, yes, and I don't need to be sounding like Ariana Grande, right? I can sound like myself and it will be beautiful. I can sound like myself and Ariana Grande mixed a little bit. I can cover an Ariana Grande song and do it completely different than her and have it still be wonderful and be where I am. I don't need to do all of her whistle notes. That is not a measure of talent. It is not a measure of worth. It is not a measure of whether other people want to listen to me. It's just that my voice is different than hers, right? I am not the same size body as her. I don't have the same range as her. I haven't put in as many years and years and years and hours as her. So of course my voice is not going to sound the same as her. So when I'm thinking about that, when I'm automatically in comparison mode, I'm battling with myself, right? I am always over adjusting. I'm always overdoing in order to be fixing and to be trying to align myself with how I think I should sound. And so when that happens, subconsciously, your little teeny vocal muscles get involved. They really like to get involved when this happens. And so then they tighten and they push and they're like, oh, what else do I need to do to get you to where you want to be? Right? Especially if you're a fighter. If you're a flighter, sometimes they will shut down and not work. If you're a freezer, sometimes they'll tighten up and not work at all. So it really depends on what your default is, what your default reaction to trauma is, to struggle, to conflict. So it can be helpful to look outside of you, outside of your singing, and say, how do I react to struggles on the outside? That's usually how you're going to subconsciously react with your voice on the inside. So I'm a fighter. I've talked about this many times before. My reaction is to push and keep pushing and push until I burn out, right? And so when I'm practicing something, I often don't give myself enough time to warm up. I just go right in, and then I sing my butt off, and then afterwards I'm like, ooh, that doesn't feel good. Why doesn't that feel good? And then I ask myself all these questions. I'm like, oh, right. It's the same stuff I talk about all day, every day. So it really does make a huge difference when you are able to be in allowing mode, especially when you are singing another person's song, because there's always that comparison that comes in. So ideally, we want to start learning how your voice operates with a whole lot of grace, right? We're learning, if you first come into voice lessons and you go, okay, I know I'm not where I want to be. And the place that most people go is, okay, how do I get there as fast as humanly possible? And my job is to be like, okay, chill. This is a long game, right? I know that you're sick and tired of not being where you want to be, but this is a long game. We're building muscle. We're building resilience in the mind. We're training our nervous system to do the things without being quite so reactive. And this stuff takes a very long time to add up, right? We're building muscle, and anytime you're building muscle, like any athlete will tell you, it takes time. It takes commitment over a long period of time to build muscle and to build practice habits and to build muscle memory, right? So we're building up the muscle memory of this allowing. And in order to do that, you have to be where you are to start, right? So we have to be in this place of, I am okay with not being where I want to be. I'm okay with not being Ariana Grande right now. I'm okay with not even sounding close to Ariana Grande because I have my own beautiful instrument. And I have this gremlin. And I have this nervous system that acts in a certain way when I am feeling attacked. And that is not a problem. That is not a failing on you. It doesn't mean you're a worse artist. It doesn't mean that you have mental health issues. It just means that you're a normal human being with a normal nervous system. And, sorry, I think that's stuck in my throat. It means that whatever you've been through in your life, that's how your nervous system has been trained to protect you, right? So everybody's got trauma. Everybody's got shit that they've had to deal with. And it really shows up in your singing because it's a very vulnerable thing, right? It's like starting a new relationship. You're opening your heart to somebody. You're saying, yes, I trust you to look inside of me and take care of me and not hurt me. But as singers, as artists, we have to be willing to, instead of just one-on-one, we have to be willing to do that for a whole audience of people. And that is a very scary thing. And so in order to build up these muscles over time, we have to do this work over time in order to build up a strong enough nervous system, a strong enough mindset, a strong enough instrument that even through nerves, even through nervous system dysregulation, which is not a bad thing, it's a normal thing, we can still safely open up our soul and say, this is what I have to give. Here, let me show you what this emotion feels like. Do you want to feel it with me? And then close it back up when you're done and protect your own safety. You're right. You have your own safety at the top of your mind. So that's kind of what I want you to think about. If you've never done any of this work before, if you've never done any work with a therapist before, highly recommend you do that. It's not a prerequisite to really work with me or work this deep on your voice, but it's super helpful because I am not a therapist, right? I just know what it is to be a singer with a nervous system that is on guard. I also identify as an anxious person. I identify as somebody who has CPTSD. I identify as an overthinker and a perfectionist. So if that is you, then I get you. I feel ya. I've been there. So as these more highly sensitive personality types, we have a different way of approaching singing, right? We don't all have iron minds and iron wills and iron nervous systems to just go out there and open your soul every night. Like there are some performers that have built that up over time that can just go out and deal with whatever, right? They can deal with people throwing tomatoes at them and it's not going to faze them whatsoever. Not to say that ever happens anymore. That's a really old reference. Like real old. But what I'm trying to say is that no human, unless you're a sociopath, no human goes into a career in creativity or public speaking or being an artist of any kind having that wall already built up, having that armor. And it takes a lot of time tapping in to what is already there and allowing yourself to be where you already are and training your nervous system to take little teeny risks, because that's how we get used to everything, right? There's no amount of just putting yourself into the deep end that's going to train your nervous system to think that that wasn't a huge scary thing, right? So even just singing in front of one person, I've had a lot of students who were scared to sing in front of me, even sing in front of themselves. And so it really takes some courage to even sing in front of a mirror. You know, just all of the gremlin voices that start coming in, like, you're not good enough. What are you doing? Your voice is terrible. Like, why are you even making noise right now? You're being too loud. Your neighbors are going to hear you. Your partner doesn't want to hear you. Remember that time in 5th grade that your mom said that you were singing too loud and she thought you were a bad singer? All of these things just weigh on you, right? And give me a comment if any of those resonated with you. Because we all have this stuff. We all have this baggage around singing that is really ingrained in us. Like, it feels like it's wrapped around your bones. It's that strong and that tight on you, right? So when you are a person with all of this baggage, and that's most of us, honestly, some of us less than others, but some of us have a lot of baggage around singing. All of those times that somebody's told you to shut up or not take up as much space or stop being so whiny or blah, 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 blah. Anything that has to do with you and your voice and how much space and how much volume you can take up in the world, it builds up. And that's what I call your gremlin. Your gremlin is an amalgamation of all of those terrible voices that you've heard throughout your life. And this is why it's so necessary to separate yourself as much as you can in the moment. And of course, it's not possible to fully cut ties because it's a part of you. But it's really, really good to start practicing. I hear you. I hear all these nasty voices that you're saying, but I'm choosing this time not to listen to any of them. I'm going to put you in the corner, right? I'm going to put you in your little cage so you can't come out, so I can have some gremlin free time. You know, if you've ever had like a puppy or something that's like so needy and like in your face all the time, and then you need to get some work done, so you put it in its crate. You're like, okay, I don't have somebody nipping at my heels all the time. That's kind of what I want you to do with your gremlin. And sometimes your gremlin's really freaking nasty, and it'll keep coming back and it'll keep barking at you like an angry chihuahua. And your job then becomes, okay, now I need to find a better solution, right? I can't just put it in its crate. I need to freaking drop kick it into oblivion, right? Sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes tough love is not helpful with your gremlin. So that's the one thing I teach all the time. Second thing is getting your nervous system to be something that you are friends with and not something that you are constantly trying to defend from an attacker. Your nervous system, some of our nervous systems are just in overdrive all the time. And so number one is just to find a way to come to a stasis, right? Find a way to let that snow in the snow globe settle, right? And you can feel into that. Just imagine that, even if you're watching later on. You can close your eyes with me, sit up tall, maybe put a hand on the chest, hand on the belly. Imagine that snow settling in a snow globe. You can give yourself a little hug. It's a good bodily reminder that you are safe. You know, it seems stupid, but it's real. You don't have to believe it, but it works. And you can just let yourself release whatever you're holding on to just now. Relax your jaw, relax your eyebrows, relax your ears, relax your shoulders. And I'm not asking you to completely let go of, everything, but if you can get in through the body and find just a little bit of a more medium pace, at least, if not slowing a little bit down, that can be a really good place for you to sing from instead of your typical nervous system on overdrive self. And I know this because I am one of those people. I'm constantly thinking about how can I spend my time being productive, right? My brain is obsessed with being productive because it's afraid that whoever is watching me, judging me from afar, they're going to think that I am less than, That is a very real fear that my brain has. And it comes from many years of needing to take care of everything for everybody. And that's just me. That's how I'm wired. And so if that's the case for you too, we need to find ways to go in through the body, because we can tell ourselves, okay, calm down, relax. You can tell yourself that all day, but if you've tried that, it doesn't work really. It works for maybe a minute or two here and there, but then ramps up again, right? And so I've learned a lot of these techniques from yoga, from meditation, but also from learning a little bit of polyvagal theory. And if you're interested more in that, I would highly recommend going to check out Muscle Music. Ruby Rose Fox, she has an amazing app and program. It's Muscle Music __ on here on Instagram. So highly recommend looking into that, because it's changed my life as an artist. And it really is about allowing. Like, this whole thing is the art of allowing, and it is so amazing how much it's changed my ability to identify as a singer. Hey Waffles, welcome. Talking about the art of allowing when you're a singer or a musician or artist of any kind. Talking about a little bit of mindset work and nervous system work, because it is really, I used to have panic attacks before I went on stage. I used to have so much anxiety. I used to feel like everybody and everything was weighing on me. Like, I was a very anxious person, and I needed everybody to like me all the time. And that has changed, and it's made my life easier over time. So it really makes a difference when you know yourself, you know your voice, and you stop trying to force yourself to be somewhere you're not. You stop resisting the natural things that come up, but you know what's going to come up, right? You know your voice so well. You know that your belt only goes up to a C, so you stop trying to force it to go higher than that. You know that your high notes require a lot more space, a lot more vocal vowel space up vertically. You know that you need to be standing up to sing. You know your voice a little better. And you know that your gremlin's going to come in and say that same old shit. And so now you can prepare for it. You can be like, nope, I hear you, separating. You go in your crate, right? And you're allowing your nervous system to do its thing, because you know that that's a part of you as a human. And so you're not resisting the nervous system changes that happen when you're about to sing in front of somebody, right? It's not a bad thing to start shaking a little bit when you're about to do something a little scary. It's a totally normal human reaction. So the fact that we have been trained to think of nervous system or of nerves as like a bad thing is completely backwards, right? We are so supposed to be nervous when we're taking risks, because we are biologically wired to need the community. And so when we think we are being judged, when we think we are doing something really terrifying that could get us kicked out of the group, we start to shake, right? It's like a survival mechanism, and that's totally normal. What we can do is start to train that nervous system to take these risks more often, so that they start to feel, you start to train your body into recognizing that, okay, I did that and I didn't die. So maybe this thing is not so much of a threat, right? And this is on a nervous system level, like very deep. And so what you can do is start to recognize that it is easier and easier over time, if you keep putting one toe in the water, that you start to acclimate a little bit, right? So you start to sing in front of one person, becomes a little less scary. Sing in front of two people, okay, that was a little scary, but I survived. Then you're like, okay, maybe I can sing in front of three people, right? Put another toe in the water, and then it becomes really chill over time. It's never nothing. Like, in my experience, whenever I sing in front of anybody, there's a little bit of nerves in there. Like, I can sing in front of 400 people now and be way more chill than I used to be. But if I were to sing in front of 3,000 people, I'd be like, holy shit, this is scary. right? So everybody has a threshold, everybody has wherever their training has taken them, it becomes easier, right? The things you do more often become less of a big deal to your nervous system. So we're just allowing it to take time, allowing our natural impulses to come through. We're not resisting. We're not forcing ourselves to be someone we're not. We're not forcing ourselves to be somewhere we're not. And you're taking the steps from where you are to where you want to be, but knowing that that may not be tomorrow, you know? So that's what I wanted to say today. Thank you all for being here. If you're watching the replay, just give me a comment. Give me like a dolphin emoji if any of this resonated. And if you feel like telling me which part you identify with, let me know. I love to hear what parts of this other people are like, oh my God, me too. Because everybody's different. You know, I like to know, are you a fighter or a flighter? Are you a person who identifies as an anxious person? Are you a person who gets scared when they're about to go on stage? Like I get clammy hands, I get dry mouth, like I start to shake. What happens for you and how do you deal with it? So yeah, let me know what you're coming up against that you feel like you're not allowing and how you can change that. And if you need help with that, that's what I'm here for. I love having these conversations about like, okay, what are we coming up against? Okay, my voice is tightening when I'm going into my higher register, for example. Okay, why is that happening? Like if you can make the sounds in other situations, why is it happening when you're singing? What is your gremlin telling you? What is your nervous system doing right now? So this is how I teach, because it is everything, right? We are not just a mechanical instrument like a piano, right? I can't just push a button and sing a note every single time the same way. I am a human being with thoughts and trauma and feelings and a nervous system and shit that's happening differently every day, right? And so this is why I like to get really deep. I ask a lot of questions. I ask probably too many questions sometimes for a lot of people. They're caught off guard sometimes, but it really makes a difference that you know yourself, you know what's going on in here as well as in here, and that will turn you into the singer that you want to be. So tell me what you're struggling with. Let me know. By the way, my DMs are always open. If you want to hear me talk about something either on here or in my shorter videos, I'm down for it. I'm happy to. I always want to know what you guys are dealing with. What are you working on right now? I don't know if you saw it yesterday, but I opened the doors to Vocal Magic, which is my signature 6-month program. It's something I'm so proud of. I love this program so much because so far it's helped so many people go from I'm stuck, I don't like how my voice sounds, I don't know if I'll ever be good enough, I can't even sing in front of you, to performing in front of many people, to jamming with other musicians, to busking on the street, to starting bands, to trying to go on tour. Like, it's big stuff, you guys. It's huge, this stuff that my Vocal Magic students have gone through. If you want to hear from them, there's tons of testimonials in the link in the bio. A whole page about the program. Is this right for you? There's a bunch of questions on there that you can go through, check off, say like, yes, 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 that's me. Even gives you a little overview of the timeline of the program, which is 6 months, and there's 2 performance opportunities in there. So what we do is it's a weekly video lesson, and I will send those out once or twice a week. Sometimes there's 2 or 3 per week. And then we go every week we do a live group session around that. So we have a little discussion about the video. What did you like? What did you not like? What did you not get? Do some warm-ups, and then we do some hot seat singing. So you get to sing in front of me and a couple other people. It's a very small, intimate group. You get to sing in front of them every week. And so it's really cool because not only are you getting the feedback from me on your little snippet of what you're singing, but you're hearing other people give you feedback as well, to a point, it's not free for all, but you're also hearing the feedback that other people get from me as well. So you're osmosing all of that stuff, right? You're not just getting your own feedback, you're hearing other stuff that you may have needed to hear for next week, that you may have needed a reminder for from last week, right? So you're getting all of this stuff, and you're getting practice singing for other people, in front of other people, but it's a safe people, right? It's safe people who are dealing with the same stuff you're going through. They get all the struggles that you're going through. They have gremlins too. They feel the same way. So often in these live group sessions, there's 3 or 4 other people that are like, oh my God, me too, right? If you share what you're struggling with, the wall that you're coming up against, somebody else is more likely to come in and say, yes, I feel that same, me too, right? So I just want to remind you that you are not alone. This is why I created this program, so that singing in front of other people can be the way you start to regulate your nervous system, right? This is where the rubber meets the road. It's going to be scary the first 2 or 3 times, but then you're going to start to feel like, okay, I did that again and I didn't die. I did it again and I didn't die. And you just keep going until all of a sudden you're 3 months in and you're performing for somebody for a Zoom concert, and you're like, oh my God, I did that. Like, I have a cohort that just did this a couple weeks ago. They just had their first performance, and all of them were like, okay, that was terrifying, but I did it, and I did it well. And now I feel like I'm on top of the world, right? Everybody was just on their A game. Everybody just killed it. It was amazing to watch, because that adrenaline shows up, that training shows up, that foundation shows up, and you do the thing that you've been training to do, and it works, right? I'm not just spouting crap for nothing, right? This is what I've done for myself. It works. So it's an amazing place to be. If you are a singer who is either just starting out, wanting that technique at the same time as practicing singing in front of other people, getting that nervous system work in, getting the mindset work in, it really is so much more sustainable than doing all the technique work first and then just being shut down by your nervous system later on and not having any idea what's going on, right? If you do this work now simultaneously, if you do technique, mindset, nervous system work at the same time, by the end of the 6 months, you will be a completely different singer. You won't recognize yourself, because it takes so much willpower to just muscle through, and most of us don't have that, right? But if we listen and allow and get really familiar with our body, our mind, and our nervous system at the same time, it becomes a sustainable practice to sing. And then you can keep going for years and years and years. So even if you're not just starting out, if you're a singer that has been singing for years, but something's blocking you, or you want to get back out performing after a little while not performing, if you're dealing with any kind of stage fright, if you're dealing with you don't know how to sing in a higher register or lower register, and you want to sing different kind of music and you feel like your voice is just like stuck in this one little box, this is totally for you. So this Vocal Magic program is something that I have crafted over the last 7 years of being a voice teacher, and I stand by it. It's amazing. Like, go see for yourself. Tons of videos you can watch of past students who have changed. Their life has changed, and that's something that almost all of them say. It's like, this has not just changed my voice, my creative self, but it's changed my life. Like, it's changed how I show up in the world. And that was the case for me too. Like, using these techniques, like learning how to listen and allow, I started seeing myself show up for myself more. My last week live, I talked about this. I think I talked about it, the 100 days challenge. I showed up for myself every day for 100 days in my imperfectness. I sang on social media for 100 days, and it changed everything, because I was finally becoming okay with myself as I am. And so then I started to give more weight to my own self, my own desires, my own needs. And so I started to speak up more at work. I spoke up more in my relationship, so much so that my relationship ended, even though it should have ended a long time ago, because I finally started saying, this is not working for me. And then we ended up parting ways because we needed to. And it was a really good thing. Not the most fun, but it was necessary. And it wouldn't have happened if I didn't put myself first in that situation. If I didn't say, yes, my goal is to sing more, and so I'm going to be a singer, right? And it wasn't that I was just jumping into the deep end and performing in front of thousands of people all of a sudden. No, I was putting 1 minute of me singing on social media every day. And then I got used to that. The next day, okay, I did it. I can do it again. Yep, doing it again. Yep, doing it again. And then all of a sudden, by the end of the 100 days, I was like, this is the easiest thing ever. I love it. It's amazing. And then everybody knew that I was a singer. They were like, I loved this song and this song and this song that you did. And I was all of a sudden in a new job, out of a relationship that was not good for me, living on my own, feeling amazing, doing the things that I love to do more often. That's when I started this business. Like, it's pretty freaking nuts. So that's why I teach this, because it worked for me. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say. So thank you for being here. If you're here after the fact, let me know. Comment magic. That's my keyword. If you don't want to show up in the comments and tell me your deepest, darkest secrets, that's fine. Just comment magic and I'll send you the details. This program is a very safe, intimate group. So I like to make sure everybody is a good fit. So the way to apply is to book a call, because I want to meet everybody and make sure that it's a good, safe group before we join. So yeah, just a quick 45-minute call at the most. It's basically like a mini vocal lesson. So you get a free mini vocal lesson, and we'll talk about what you're dealing with, what you want out of it, what would be the best way forward, because sometimes this program is not the best way forward for everybody, but sometimes you don't even realize it, but it is. A lot of people come and they're like, no, I want private lessons only, like group is scary. But if you're a person who wants to start getting on stage, no amount of singing for me for 3 years is going to get you more used to singing in front of people and make that transition easier, So I highly recommend this program. I only open it twice a year, and this is the second time this year. So next time won't be until spring. So get on it. If you have any questions, my DMs are open. But also you can just book a call because it's free, and I will answer all of the questions you have in person. And plus, I love to see your lovely faces and hear your lovely voices. Yeah, that's all I have to say. All right, have a lovely rest of your day. I love you very much. Thank you for being here. And go with a sense of allowance through your day if you can. Let me know how it goes. Okay,